thank you for this day. We thank you for this time together to discuss the people's business. We do ask for comfort and prayers to the families that lost people yesterday and that were injured, as well as our first responders that had to deal with that situation. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. First item up is our consent agenda, which will be acknowledgement and receipt of the November Auditor report, the same series transfer report, and the cash balance report. You should have received those, I think, the email.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions on those items? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Alrighty. Any public comment on an agenda item? Alright. Moving on to money matters. First, we've got quite a few transfers to deal with here. Hang on. First, I'm sorry. Weights, I'm not seeing that one. Weights and measures. Hang on. My screen keeps moving on me. I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. Yeah, weights and measures. We got 2 transfers, dues and subscriptions, and insurance reimbursement.
Sorry, that got messed up a little bit, but yeah, it's in the middle, almost to the end, if you look. Sorry, it's a little out of order for some reason.
Oh, that's different than what I've got. Okay. So that's different than that one? Is that the old agenda?
No, this is the new one. The weights and measures, it's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blame the attorney.
Sorry.
Okay. So, yeah, sorry. Clerk's office is first. Well, my screen.
Good morning, Sandra Sixbury with the clerk's office. Just have the part-time positions, and we're kind of throwing money back and forth from one to the other, and I'd exhausted one of those funds due to a maternity leave, and so I need to move from the one part-time to the part-time person that's working in our office now to make sure we can cover her for the rest of the year.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. And the assessor.
Good morning. Sherry Bentley, County Assessor. I have 4 today. The first one kind of hinges on where I'm at later in the agenda for splitting the positions. The other 3 have to do with earlier in the year we had salary reductions, and I moved services line to cover those, and new vendor service that was the contract was approved in late 2024, which was after the 2025 budget was already kind of set up. So the last 3 lines are to cover those shortfalls.
So on your operating expenses, you've got more money at the end of the year to pull out of that.
Yes, so our operating expenses was always in kind of one line, but we had to split that between a 2000 series and a 3000 series. So this is just moving it from one series to the other. So yeah, I have all of that.
Yeah, and then with the first one. That's a separate issue, right?
Well, it kind of hinges on your approval of my item later in the agenda. However, if you disapprove that, even if you transfer this, it would come out in the wash at the end of the year. It wouldn't be a deal changer. It wouldn't cause me to go short in that line. So if you wanted to approve it, but then not approve the other, it would be okay. So.
Move to approve
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
And then, let's see, Superior Court. Commissioner up?
Not anything more than what we have written down.
Okay. Yeah, there's no representative here, but it's for some open invoices that they have, they're just moving some money around to pay those.
So, we're using office clerk funds and travel expenses for office supplies. And we're gonna kick a law clerk away for furniture.
I believe they bought a laptop and carpet.
Does that replace a law clerk?
That is the line that they move money around out of all the time, they haven't used, and they've agreed to go to zero next year, so.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion on that? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Sure.
Good morning, Sherry Hill, Montgomery County Central Communications Center. All my transfers are in relation to salaries, lines falling short, and we had several people move from different lines due to people leaving and whatnot, promotion, and then also the HSA line was short.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Second. I have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussions for Sherry? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're at weights and measures. This was, just cover some open invoices. And 2026 stickers, decals, I assume those are the fuel pump.
Yeah, the fuel pump stuff and like Kroger and all that stuff.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion for that? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Highway Department.
I'm covering highway today.
Okay.
These were all requested from our office there was a shortfall in their HSA and group insurance lines. Those are lines that we struggle to budget properly at the beginning of the year. It's always a guesstimate, so we asked them to cover that. And that's what these are.
Okay.
Yeah, Mindy, I know that they're down a couple truck drivers, so you're pulling money out of the empty positions.
Yeah, they have some extra money in some of their driver lines, yeah.
And then part-time, if we get some part-time, we have enough to cover. If we have part-time, on this part-time, if we need it, we have enough to cover.
Yeah, we only have 2 more paychecks in this budget, so we should be fine. They still have money to move around if needed.
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And last is Health Department. Grant award thing. Is there
I guess I'll speak on this also. Oh, I didn't see Adrian back there, sorry.
any? Oh, there's yours,
Don't mean to go ahead, okay. There were changes, I'm guessing, in the way the lines were distributed from the time we got the grant to now, and we just need to cover that, is the way I understand it, but.
Yeah, we split that, sorry, Andrew Guy, Chief Probation Officer, Montgomery County. I also serve on the Montgomery County Drug-Free Leadership Board, so I'm involved with it from that standpoint. And we divide the funds into 4 categories at the beginning of the year, and then we need to come back when the grant award committee identifies where the money's actually going to be spent. It's not always evenly amongst the 4 categories. So this is a correction in regards to moving that over.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on that? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on to additional appropriations. First up is the commissioners.
Again, a shortfall in the insurance line.
I guess, how are we missing insurance by that much for everybody this year?
That's a hard one to answer. We don't do those budgets. I would,
No, I understand, but
yeah,
it's
well, no,
just a question. I mean,
we-
342,000 isn't,
no, it's
Small.
nothing to sneeze at. Every year, we have to come back and ask for more in these lines. This year, one of the reasons the budget increase, and we talked about it, was because of the insurance, and that's because we asked that we take a look at that a little more closely. We have been taking numbers, from what I understand, from our insurance company as to what we should budget, and not the real numbers as to what we've been spending. So that is something that we would like to have a little bit more control over moving forward, so we don't have these issues at the end of the year. I looked at the last 5 years, and every year we have had to increase those budgets.
Well, you're self-insured, so you're gonna have your claim. You're self-insured, so your claims experience influences what your actual payments are. You only really pay insurance for the, your overage. So, you know, you have stop loss. So the way it's structured, you don't have a conventional health insurance plan where you just pay a premium and you know what it is. You're self-insured, so you're gonna have fluctuations in your actual costs. So what you have at the beginning of the year is merely an estimate. Now, this is something you should watch, but that's the answer why you see fluctuations, is because you are really your own insurance company on everything except catastrophic claims.
So you're saying we're borrowing this money right now? It's already been spent on our behalf through insurance? I mean, I pay a premium periodically, and that's to cover expenses that are insured.
This is the county side
Yeah,
of it.
but he just said that we're our own insurance, so we pay our own insurance bill.
Mhm.
So somebody paid this already?
No, it's to get us through the next 2 pays.
Now you've confused me.
You have pending claims, so your insurance system is all based on an estimate of what will be not covered by your stop loss carrier. So you have, depending on how many claims employees file for insurance, what you guys budget is just an estimate of what those claims will be. You have no way of knowing what those claims will be until you have that experience. So my guess is you have pending claims.
Well, these are premiums, but Jennifer's going to talk on
these
it.
are
Alright.
These are premiums.
I've been messing with this since we went self-insured, so I'll just explain a little bit how our insurance works. Every year, we
Assess with the insurance company what we need to withhold from the county side of insurance withholding at every pay for every tier of insurance, okay? And so, whenever somebody signs up for, say, a family plan or employee spouse plan, you know, what we pull out of the commissioner, highway, and CCC budgets is dependent upon what people have signed up for. So these lines that we're looking for are just the county side, based on what the insurance company told us we needed to withhold in order to cover what they estimate, basically the worst case scenario of claims would be. When we do payroll every month, we pull those out of those 3 budgets and they go into the self-insurance fund. The self-insurance fund has a budget too, which that one's a lot more hit or miss. Because that's based on the claims that Dan was talking about. We have to pay a monthly premium, and we have to pay, every week we get a bill for all of the insurance claims that have been filed by our employees. So it's a two-step process with our budget as far as making sure that everything's covered on group insurance. So we're not sure exactly how the insurance company comes up with what they tell us to put in our commissioner, highway, and CCC budgets to cover the county portion of the premiums that get pulled each payroll. I don't know how they do their math. But what I do know is that based on the number of people we have signed up, based on the tiers they're signed up for, and based on, just historical data, we've been under budgeting it forever. Their estimates are probably looking at actual claims, whereas we're looking for what we need to put in the self-insurance fund to make sure the worst case scenario is covered. So there's a little bit of a difference there, and I think that's why it's always under budgeted. Because fortunately, we don't hit the worst case scenario every year, which is a good thing, but it does mess with the county side of budgets. Did I say that right?
Much better than I did,
Okay.
yes.
And when do people enroll?
I'm sorry?
When do people enroll in our plan?
They just enrolled the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So-
After you do budgets, then people enroll.
Yeah.
And choose their coverage, and that's another.
And with turnover over the course of the year, I mean, you kind of want to plan again for the highest that it's going to be pulling from the county side into the self-insurance fund. So instead of basing it on the assumption that everybody who signs up for insurance is going to use the lower cost tiers, like employee only, kind of come up with something more middle of the road, because what we pull out about $700 every pay on the commissioner's side for one employee only plan, but we pull out almost $2,000 for the family plan. It just depends on what they sign up for. And we have no earthly idea what that's going to be in July, the year before, when we start working on budgets. And then when the insurance people give us our estimates, again, my theory is that it's just based on actual claims, not what they've told us to set up for each tier that people have signed up for. So I know it's confusing and weird, but the insurance fund is healthy. We have well over $2 million sitting in that fund to cover claims. And we have, 2.5 more coming in based on what was budgeted for next year.
And that is an option. We could ask the commissioners to do a holiday on their side as well, because we do have the cash balance there. This is just an appropriation. The cash balance is healthy, and if they chose to do a holiday for the last two, on their side, for the last two pays, we would not need this appropriation, or wouldn't need I don't think we would need it at all, do we? I don't remember the numbers. We ran those numbers and
It would be
presented
much
those.
smaller if we needed
Yeah.
anything at all.
So
So it's something to think about.
that is another option, and that has been submitted.
Moving forward then, how do you think we should fix this? Because we're already behind for next year in the budget, right?
No, this next year, we did budget more. I'm Jennifer Andel, Chief Deputy.
This next year, we did budget more than was recommended by the insurance company. So hopefully we'll be closer to what we need to. I mean, like I sure how they come up with their numbers, but we're just basing the numbers on historical data, and, what they've asked, but historical data will take you only so far. We don't know what the future holds for the health of our employees, obviously, but, I think we're looking better for next year. Yes, there still may be additionals needed depending on, people who are signed up for employee only. Things may change in their life and they change tiers to being family coverage. And, it's like trying to hit a moving dartboard, but I think we're looking better. Yeah.
So, my original question was this because of premium shortfall, or is this because of payments that we're making on insurance claims didn't come up to keep the fund healthy?
This is shortfalls due to the payroll process.
That's the insurance, paid, the premiums paid for insurance.
It's the county's portion of what is supposed to be put into the self-insurance fund every payroll. That's what falls short. It's about 60,000 every payroll on the county side. So, and we just put that in the self-insurance fund to keep it fed, to keep ourselves prepared for whatever kind of claims come down the road. So that's where we've been under budgeting on that side of things. Does that make sense? I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it's getting clearer.
Okay.
So you're saying this money's not necessarily, we're not writing a check for $342,000 to the insurance, it's just going to yourself?
No, this is just our internal
Okay.
process for making sure we have the coverage we need.
That explains a little better.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, is that balance in that fund about where you would like it to be? I refuse to turn my mic down. Is that fund about where you'd want it to be, 2.6? Is that?
I think so. Don't you think so? I mean, and I think that's what the people from Apex are telling us too, is that that's a safe space.
We want to stay above about
Is it
2.4.
there now or with this 342,000?
I didn't see the cash report, but it's Fund 4,700. Whatever the cash balance is in 4,700, that's where we are with the self-insurance fund. That's how much money we have sitting there to pay
It'd be
claims.
$10 billion, and I don't know what that means.
But yeah, they always want us to hit between 2.2 and 2.6 million.
And we're around,
I think last time I looked, we were at 2.4. And then we have another 2.6 coming in next year. So,
Also, just so you know, we get a quarterly report from our insurance company or our insurance consultant. January to August, our surplus and premium equivalence was $527,000, which meant we brought in more than our costs, $527,000. That went into self-insurance fund.
so that goes to the question, do we really need to put this money in that fund?
That's why I shared that information.
If we put it in that fund, it is earmarked for a specific cost. If we leave it in county general, it can be used for emergency funds.
That is where the commissioners would need to put in the holiday. But
it's too late for that.
I make a motion to table this until the commissioners can talk about that.
I'll second.
if they do not approve it, then we don't have the appropriation to pay.
Yeah,
I'm
and
okay with that, we got enough money in the fund.
But we have to have the appropriation.
No authority to spend.
We don't think we do.
We're talking, they couldn't write a check.
That's a different issue. I mean,
well, because it's payroll is one of the things, I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
Payroll is one of the.
Turn on your mic, what did you do? Really your turn.
Payroll is one of the processes that we can go ahead and continue doing without your permission. Okay? That and paying bonds, basically. Whether the council gives us permission to or not, we're going to meet the county's requirements for these things. So, we've been trying to work with people to get these appropriations to happen once we noticed they were getting low, going negative, blah, blah, blah. And, but we had to continue processing payroll. And part of the payroll process is to pull that money every time. So now you have a negative balance in those budget lines. And we're asking for that resolution at the end of this year to move money into lines that are negative, but there's not enough money in the other lines of the commissioner's budget to move into those lines to fix the negative. This is just an appropriation cleanup issue more than anything. The money's still staying at the county, and we've already processed the transactions that put it into the ledger of the self-insurance fund. This is just to clean up appropriation lines.
I agree with Jennifer. It's an appropriation, so this is just authority to spend money. It's needed because the budget was wrong last year. I agree with Jennifer. It's needed because the budget was too low last year. It's a correction.
Yeah.
But without an appropriation, on most expenses, she can't do it because it's payroll. She'd be required to do it whether you authorize it or not. When, Gary, your idea that we need more information, to me, is the other issue. And that is, what should our budget be next year? Because you've just adopted your budget, but you can change your budget. You can change your budget anytime. And going after January 1, you can make changes to your budget. You can have a discussion with the commissioners about what the appropriate amount should be and what is our cash balance, and is that the right amount of our cash balance, and what's their strategy about dealing with that issue. But that's really not the issue for this. And I think Jennifer stated it actually very well. That this is merely an appropriation, additional appropriation. Is not, can I have more money? That's not what it is. It is merely, can I have authority to spend money? And because the budget was too low, she has no authority to spend it, although she actually does. But she's
But
asking,
with payroll, I
she's asking nicely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that way we can end the year with our budget tied up in a neat little bow and no dangling negative appropriations, which the State Board of Accounts does not like to see you end the year with negative appropriations.
It's illegal,
Yeah.
actually.
It's not so much for payroll things, but we just try to keep it that way across all budget lines.
Ask another question here. So it happens like this every year. Is the amounts comparable to years in the past?
I actually printed that out. We adjusted in '24, 258,000. I'm rounding. So in '23, 103,000. 22, 46,000. 21, 108,000. And 20, 90,000. So this is the highest, but it's not historically shocking.
That would be something future budget purposes that we would need to
And that's what we did for next year's budget. We worked really closely with Tom, Lori, and Patty, and of course Jen was involved in that. She was here at the change to self-insurance, so she's kind of the guru. And I feel like we're in a much better place for 2026. Not saying that we won't need appropriations. We have no idea what 2026 is going to look like. You know, people getting married, having kids, whatever, all the good things. But I do feel like we're in a better place, a starting point for next year, which is why the budget looked a little higher and felt a little more uncomfortable.
Based on additional information, I retract my motion.
You do retract. Okay. We'll clean that up first. Okay, so the motion's been retracted.
So do we need to make Dan, we need to make a motion that if the commissioners work it out, they can pull it out of that account. If not, then you pull don't need to do that. If the commissioners decide to do that, it'll just be an unspent appropriation. You're only deciding on an appropriation. So if the commissioners do that, then some or all that appropriation may not be needed. But then that would just be, and then on December 31st, that appropriation disappears.
The actual motion.
Second.
Okay, Mike made a motion, do a second. Any other questions or discussion on that? It's a lot of information. All's in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Can we make a recommendation to the commissioners to make a holiday of that?
What did you just say, Jennifer? It's too late to do that?
I mean, I guess you
We could do the last,
you could do a bunch of adjustments.
we haven't have we had the, oh,
Because we're in process.
we're in process of payroll right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean,
She hasn't done it yet. I can still switch it off. Well, but not before the meeting. Yeah, it doesn't, unfortunately. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, best, we can talk about it offline. But maybe they start off the year with a holiday and save some of that back and make us in a better place for next year or something. I don't know. We can talk about options for sure. It is too late to turn it off for this one. Well, it's not too late to turn it off for it, but we don't have the permission to do so, so. But we do have some options. Maybe we can look at it with the balance that we have to do it next year.
Okay. Next up, EMS contract 477-980-50. Oh, Lori's going to talk about this one. That's a good one, yep. This is her second payment. So.
It is, really. Lori Dossett, Commissioner's Executive Assistant.
I'd like to withdraw that request.
Yay.
What?
What is that?
Yes, we don't need it. Once we get the full settlement, we'll have that 25 payment, and we're good.
We have enough appropriation in there?
Yes. All right.
I think that's the whole reason we asked for this, is because the money is there, the cash
Right.
is going to be there after settlement, cash.
Right.
But the appropriation won't be. Because we paid all of those extra training payments this year, and
That took the cash away from this.
That took the
Never mind, we do
appropriation.
need that. I was excited for a while. My apologies.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, Commissioner
That's all right.
Fuller
I was-
was texting me right before the meeting. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, full wire, yes, that's what, never mind. We need that money, please.
Yeah, this is the second payment of her agreement with the city. So.
Sorry.
To provide this coverage for that.
We didn't budget enough to start with.
We did, and I can tell you exactly what happened. Part of the agreement was, do you want to hear the whole details, or we just need some details?
Just a short.
There is no short. There was an agreement, and in the agreement we paid training, okay? For 2 years, they didn't bill us for the training. They said they weren't going to do it. Changed their mind, said, nope, we want that money, so we paid all 3 of the training this year, which was $150,000, which we only actually budgeted $52,000, because that's all we were supposed to pay every year for training.
Now, the contract had a cap in it
Yes,
per year.
right.
They just didn't bill us in a timely manner.
Yes. In 2026, our bill for the emergency services will be $1,014,217.
Does that include training?
Yes, it does.
Good,
Motion is second. Any other questions on that? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any
Thank
opposed?
you. No.
and then have to, so I'm coming to you second time. They get salads.
Move to approve.
They get rabbit food. Thanks.
I have a motion and a second. Any other question or discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Sherry back.
I know, I don't know if I want to follow all that.
Well, you're going to do the same argument we had.
Sure, it will. Yeah, right. So my department pays our side of the employees, the employer's insurance, if you will. So we kind of fell into the same trap as everyone else. And to life-changing events, and I know I had a few in my department. It makes a huge difference. Like, I have myself on my insurance. My husband retired. I had to pick him up. And now instead of $80 every payroll, it's several hundred. And that really takes a big dent, especially when you have, under 20 people in your department. Anyway, we hired a few people that had to do family insurance, and that makes a huge difference versus just insuring yourself. So I need $18,500 to get out of the hole.
Yeah. Second. Got a motion and a second. Any other questions for Sherry? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Bingham.
Morning.
Morning.
Sorry about that. So, the 2 overtimes are just what we've been doing for the school. Last month we were just behind and didn't get that in, so that's why there's 2 on there. It's just the payment from Southmont that we're looking to put back in the overtime line for the SRO bully. The jail bond, there was still $19,000 left in there. It was suggested that we use that to pay for part of the jail roof that was repaired. So that's all that is. It's just to appropriate that money to help cover that expense.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any questions for Sheriff? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. And Andy, it looks like there's a bunch of grants coming at us.
Good morning, Adrian Nichols, Chief Probation Officer. We do our little best to look for grants to help offset our programs, and so the next several lines consist of 10 grants that the probation department has written for, and these are for 2026. And that covers our problem-solving courts, drug courts, family recovery court, veterans treatment court. It also gives funding to cover probation officer salaries and to do a juvenile expansion this year to offer an alcohol and drug education program. And we're partnering with the Youth Service Bureau in regards to that.
I do have a question for you. I do have a question. Does any of this have anything to do with the $3,300 treadmill that you guys purchased?
Does any of this grant?
This is what?
No, the treadmill was purchased out of 2100, which is user fee funds.
Okay. So you purchased a $3,362.63 commercial treadmill along with a 3-year membership to iFit Pro. And then you spent over $200 for like a taco bar. Before we get this other, you see what we're spending for other things as well. And, the taxpayers, I think, I don't know how these people feel, but I don't think it's a place for the probation department to be buying $3,300 and spending money for the tacos. When I went out to the highway department the other day, and they had a pitch in, and they did it themselves. taxpayers in my district would agree with you guys spending that much money and spending it for those kind of things. And if anybody else did it, I would feel the same way.
I hear what you're saying, and I'd like to clarify some of that. The TACO is associated with the Family Recovery Court Program. It's associated with grant funds or donated funds. It has nothing to do with taxpayer funds in regards to that. That's totally separate. The commercial treadmill is for use within the probation department for all staff in regards to using it. It's to help de-stress employees. They have to do it on their own time in regards to utilizing it. And a treadmill that is a commercial grade to be able to have a long-term use actually costs $8,000. And so we did take the lesser option associated with it to do that, and that's specifically then for staff in regards to de-stressing. It's supposed to be a mental health component in regards to that.
Well, you don't think there's stress in the highway department?
Highway
Not
department
stress
is
in
absolutely
So we're gonna
not
have 50 treadmills that we're gonna spend $4,000 for. I think it's an expense that the taxpayers of the county should have to pay for. That's my opinion. And, so, you know, you're saying that there's no stress in the 911, there's no stress in the commissioner's office, our office.
Never
So
said that.
there's, you know, I'm just saying, you know, you guys need to think about how and what you're spending the money on, because it's taxpayer money.
I hear what you're saying.
Things are
Once
so
again,
tight.
this is not taxpayer money.
Well, it's all taxpayer money.
It's
Somehow
user
it's
fee.
taxpayer money, it's all. County general, wherever it comes from, some taxpayer pays it.
A user fee paid this.
Well, then it's still money that's coming from taxes or penalties or whatever. I'm just saying it just does not look good for us to be spending money on that kind of thing. Go down to Planet Fitness or go somewhere, and if they're doing it on their own time, and go there, and I'm sure there's places you can go to the Boys and Girls Club, you go to the city building, there's places that people can go without the county having to buy. So,
Once
that's
again,
all.
I hear what you're saying. My caution with that is you are asking a probation officer who supervises the public in a manner, and now you're asking them to go work out in that public situation. And on a regular basis, we are approached by individuals that we supervise on our own time in a situation that not necessarily is always safe, let alone it's detriment then to the mental health component of what we're trying to achieve. So, I'm going to argue still that the treadmill was a good purchase. It was a reasonable purchase. It was given consideration in regards to the cost of it. We went with the lesser option and did not spend the $8,000. And I will say that we did try for grants in the past 2 years to find money to cover that treadmill, and we were unable to do so. The problem-solving courts do have additional expenses that do seem odd and unusual and may call attention, like the top of our conversation. And I understand that. I totally understand that. But we don't spend taxpayer money in regards to that. That is why we get these grants to help support these programs.
Okay, back to matter at hand. We've got all these grants they have received, and we need to appropriate. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any other discussion or questions on the grants? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Moving on to new business. First up is the final reading of ordinance 2025-4, which is our compensation ordinance. Do we need a motion on all this? Yes. Okay. So I need a motion to approve that. Or I'll entertain a motion. I don't think we have copies of that or anything. That's from last month. We did the first reading. Have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion on that one? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And then ordinance 2025-5, the final reading of the Montgomery County Solid Waste Appropriation Ordinance. Have a motion and a second on that. Any questions or discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. And then again, 2025-6, final reading, Montgomery County Solid Waste District Compensation Ordinance. Have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor of signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, next up is the first reading of ordinance 2025-7, our updated investment policy, which Dan will address here.
Yes, this ordinance is a readoption of an investment policy. You're required to do this every 4 years. You last adopted your policy in 2022, so our plan is to introduce it and then have you adopt it in January so that we're under that timeline. The investment policy is a state law which restricts the way our treasurer invests money. It's designed to try to not put county and money into risky investments. This year in the legislature, there was really only one big change, and that is on page 8. And you can see that they placed a limitation on final maturity in, that will apply, that would make that investments must be stated to have maturity of not more than 4 years. This material, as you can see, is very dry, but in making these technical revisions to your investment policy, we're picking up changes. Legislative changes have been made in the last 4 years. I would represent to you that this would make your investment policy compliant. This is first reading only. You can vote on it next time. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Dan on that?
One comment. Thank
Okay.
you, Mr. Treasurer, for the job you do investing our money.
Amen. Okay, next up, resolution 2025-10, transfer and reduction of appropriations. This is a yearly thing that we do to help the auditor clean up the books, basically. So, do we have an actual? Yep, there it is.
We just need a motion.
We just need a motion, yep.
Move to approve.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, next up, moving into public hearing, designation of revitalization area for the tax abatement for Cargill.
Yes, today you'll conduct a public hearing and hear statements regarding the request by Cargill to designate their primary site as an economic revitalization area, and also their request for tax abatement. A month ago, you did a declaratory resolution which said that you were willing to so designate that property and consider tax abatement. As you can see on the schedule which is attached, this is a real estate only abatement request. It's a 10-year abatement. It is not exactly the traditional abatement. Cargill does not want to ask for 100% abatement in the first year. They'd like to pay some taxes to the county. That modifies their schedule slightly, but it adds up to the same as a traditional, just with a difference in the first year being less, and then the second year is higher. But otherwise, a very traditional abatement. Cargill is planning, as you heard at your last meeting, their intention is to move their regional office to Linden and to make other very expensive improvements that would help their site handle their business faster and even alleviate some stress on our roads. And so today you will conduct your public hearing first, and then at the close of that, you will have a chance to vote on Resolution 2025-9, which would make the designation formally and would approve the tax abatement request.
Okay, so it's a public hearing. Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Moving on to the confirmatory resolution 2025-9, which Dan just went through. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions or discussion on that? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Next up is the compensation request for probation. I believe you all got an email for this.
I did send an email in regards to this, but I had an opportunity to review it. We are in a situation where I'm coming to you for help. The probation department has been short-staffed since May. We have gone through multiple hiring processes. We have offered positions on 4 occasions. Of the 4 occasions the position was offered, only once was it accepted. That person started November 4th and they quit December 1st. We will shortly be 4 vacancies. I had 2 people come in the same day giving resignations. When it comes down to it, NFP, which is a compensation entity up in Indianapolis, they did a probation officer salary compensation study. That study determined that the starting salary for a probation officer in the state of Indiana on a 35-hour work week should be $49,899. We work a 37.5-hour work week. That calculation out is $53,464. We currently start probation officers at $42,000 and change. So what I'm asking is to be able to amend the probation officer salary to adhere to the NFP study that was completed specifically for probation officers, not asking for a penny more than that, keeping in alignment with the study. There's been some additional information shared with you. All 3 judges are in agreement with this request. The current caseload for the probation department is over 800, and if you look at the individuals that will qualify to be sitting in jail and/or in DOC, if they weren't on probation, you're saving approximately $28,000 per day. So that's the option. We can have probation, or we can put people in jail. We have to do what's best for our community and supporting our community. The other aspect of it is, because I ask a lot of our probation officers, our judges do also. We can be a probation department that does the bare minimum. You want to pay the bare minimum, we can do the bare minimum. The difference is, and I have an example, and I share that in my email. We have a situation where juveniles have gun. We could just say, I'll deal with that tomorrow. Oh wait, it's Thanksgiving weekend. I'll deal with that on Monday. Well, that gun will be gone before then. So no, my officers leave their home, leave their family, their children, and they go get that gun. It's not a simple matter. You're not getting the same from every county. And when we ask that of our employees, we should compensate our employees as such. So really I'm here arguing the fact that I can't keep the department sustained and maintained without some considerations. So specifically I'm asking permission to be able to pay according to the NFP wage study. There would be approximately, if I were to keep every employee, which I'm not, if I were, it's $102,000. That $102,000 I'm saying I'd like to pay from Fund 2100, which is user fee funds. It's not asking the county for any additional funds. I know I'm not going to end up spending that $102,000 because I already know I'm not going to keep every employee. They're going elsewhere, they're making more money, and then potentially they're doing less. So that's my request today.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, Tom, the committee that we had, so I know Steve's not here, I wish Steve was here, for the salary committee. We set guidelines and certain things that needed to be done, and criteria that needed to be done, and I think we need to follow that, because if we don't follow our criteria that we set up, then we wasted our time, which I had talked to Gary about before. Sometimes you have to say no and follow the guidelines, because if you don't, we will be out of whack real quick. So, what do they need to do to follow the guidelines for our committee?
Well, if you guys recall, when you adopted the compensation study, you also later adopted a resolution to the commissioners to amend the policy regarding compensation and establish a process where if a department had a change in job classification of an employee, there was a process to go through for that. Or for reorganization of the department, they would submit those two to me, and then we would determine whether or not to have the county's compensation consultant review the position. Since this request does not meet either one of those conditions, then the policy says that it has to come to the council to decide whether or not you want to have the county's compensation consultant review the request for a change in compensation.
Well, I'd like to make the motion that we send it to them and have them take a look at it and let us know what they think. That's my opinion.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I guess as far as discussion goes, I guess my question is why was this not addressed during the budget time?
It was. The NFP study was shared with your consultant, and they chose to exclude from probation from that consideration, not from whether or not they would pay it, from they would even look at it, because probation is set by the state, is what their thought process is. So they didn't even take into consideration the NFP study. So I feel like I've done.
Well, they don't set your budget, you make the budget request.
Correct.
Why did you not request additional salary during the budget process?
Because I did my absolute best to play nice in the sandbox, meaning I am as aware of you in regards to salaries and the budget concerns, and I did my best. But if I can't maintain my department as such, then I have a problem.
I think it should have been brought up in the budget time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but we literally just approved the budget 2 meetings ago. I mean, this problem obviously was apparent before 2 months ago,
Agreed.
but you didn't.
I've been asking for years for this. And we're in a challenging spot, and so what I've given consideration to is, rather than asking the county for any additional monies, to be able to pay it out of the user fee fund.
But is that practice sustainable, or is it even, are we able to do it that way?
I've spoken with the auditor's office as far as how the actual process would work, and there are 2 options in regards to it, so yes, it's feasible. As far as the sustainability, we do have funds within the user fee fund. In addition, and that would sustain us for multiple years. The other aspect of it is we looked at, with our current consideration of where we're at, do we start closing programs? Do we start reducing our level of commitment and start doing away with programs? And so the Failure Recovery Court program is one of the programs that's currently on the table for discussion on whether or not we close it. And once I start closing programs, we're going to start losing funding. Because in order to get funding, you have to prove that you are going above and beyond and working towards doing the absolute best in evidence-based practices. Problem-solving core is part of that, evidence-based practices. So, bottom line, we maybe start losing those programs by default, we'll start losing grant money. And then it's this vicious cycle. The concept of what we're helping to offset county cost from salaries with grants, we're going to start losing those opportunities if we go this other route and start closing programs. It's a bad situation. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I attempted to do the best for the county council because you didn't want to see those pay increases. You didn't want to see it. I did my best not to put them in there. It's come back to bite me in the eye.
So clarification on the motion, is the motion to have the compensation consultant review the NFP study to determine if that's appropriate, or are you asking WIS to do their own compensation study for the positions?
I say let's send it back to them to take a look at it.
You didn't answer the question.
look at the NFP study or have them do a new study?
No,
Your motion is to send it to our advisor.
yes, our advisor,
Do you want to
yes.
have them look at the NFP, whatever?
Well, I think they need to look at anything you can give them, I think they need to look at, and then make the decision.
It's not about whether we want or not want.
No.
It needs to be consistent within the county.
If we're not, then we wasted our
There's
time.
other monies come from all over the place for different things. Yours is a big example of lots of grant money. And we appreciate your hard work on the grant. No two ways about that. However, so it's uniform across the county, we need to work with this company that we've recognized. And
Yes.
that's my opinion.
So you want them to look at the NFP study to determine if that's the appropriate amount?
Sure, and go ahead and have them do their work as well, and anything that we can do to get the knowledge we need to see where we're at, and I think that's which way we want to go. Get as much information as we can get.
I mean, that's not going to take a tremendous amount of time, is it?
Well, it depends what you're asking them to do. If you're asking them to just review the NFP study and say, do you feel this is appropriate amount, it's different than asking them to do a new compensation study for the position.
What would we do if it was someone else? Wouldn't we say do a compensation study on this request?
The last time.
Yes.
Is it the same thing when we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make, so I'm going to tell them, you guys are asking them to do a new compensation study for the position.
Taking into account all the information they have in front of them.
Okay.
Just like you would.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
When we did the compensation study and the consultant, would they've had access to the NFP?
Yes, they did.
It's-
But I was advised that they were not looking at probation's salary from that standpoint to reset anything, to adjust anything, because they were simply adhering to the minimum guidelines that the state provided.
Just to still review it, see where they line up.
Yeah, I do agree with that,
It
yes.
doesn't mean we have to take their advice, but it means that
Right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any more questions or discussion on that? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take it under advisement. Next up, establishment of 2026 council meeting dates. Is this time, date, everything work for you guys? Yep. That work for everybody? Do we need a motion for that or resolution next? Okay. And then, last but not least, the assessor. She's still here, good. She wants to split a person in two.
Exactly. Good morning. In light of the difficulty of finding qualified people for some of these positions, I have a person that I'm going to bring in full-time. I have one employee that has been she left and she's been working under that line part-time. So I would like to move a senior employee. She's indicated that she also would like to work part-time. So between the two of them, they have 55 years of assessing experience, and I don't want to lose that. So I am asking to change one full-time line to part-time to pay those two out of, and then I'll be bringing the new person in to the GIS line as a full-time employee, so that person can gain the benefit of the knowledge of those people that have been here a very, very long time, because I would hate to lose that knowledge. So the money is already appropriated. It does not require any additional appropriations. It's just splitting one full-time line into two part-time lines.
And you're going to follow the guidelines on the part-time pay and everything. We did this with Sixbury, right? We did this same kind of thing. So we can kind of follow that as well.
Sherry and I have already spoken. She's going to use the same hourly rate for the two part-time people. It's just going to be two part-time lines as opposed to one full-time line. and no benefits, so.
We're being consistent with that.
Yeah, we're doing it the
Okay.
same way.
Well, I make a motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second. Any other questions?
I might add, just before you have your discussion, just for full disclosure, if these two employees decide to go ahead and retire, it may very well be that I ask at that point to come back and combine that into one, because I would prefer it be a full-time position, but I'd rather this person have the benefit of their knowledge before they leave me. So, but that wouldn't, again, the salary would be the same, so
Yep.
yeah, I wouldn't ask for any more money.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Staff and elected official reports. Anybody? I think I stole your notes, Tom. You got notes here for somebody. Dan stole it.
Just a reminder, Joe Ellis is retiring this month. We are having a lunch for Joe, a pitch-in lunch, on December 18th right here in the community meeting room, so you're all invited to attend. And then there is a retirement celebration for him on December 20th at the American Legion at, I think it, well, if you give me a second, I put it on my calendar, sorry, I meant to write this, and then Dan stole my paper before. 3 p.m. 3 p.m. at the American Legion.
I was invited by Tom.
So just a reminder of that. Just want to thank Joe for all his service as well. Another person that's retiring from service too is Ron Dickerson from the Redevelopment Commission. So just want you guys to be aware of that. He's, I think, been on it since the beginning, and he really appreciate all his service to the county. So just want to recognize that. And then last, Jennifer and Judge Petrie have birthdays next week, so we have to sing. So I think it's tradition that Jennifer has to stand up and we have to sing happy birthday to her. So happy birthday.
Okay. Any other elected officials?
Just real quickly, I wanted to thank you guys for the radios. Those came in a lot sooner than expected. They were installed last week, with the last one being installed tomorrow. I know the staff is very appreciative. I know there's been some flack on social media, which I don't care, but I appreciate your willingness to work with us and, to see the issues that we have, and you guys took the step to resolve that. The other issue, I just wanted to make myself available. I know that monthly newsletter that I send you, I sent the calls for service sheet regarding the Wodover Recovery Center. And if you guys have any questions about that, I just want to address it. It's an issue. It's an ongoing issue. I don't think it's a sustainable issue. I'm not really sure how to fix it. But we're up to 94 calls since last November. Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. I don't see anything changing. It's a revolving door, and we cannot continually respond to that location to deal with the issues that they're giving us. To the best of my knowledge, none of the residents there are Montgomery County people. These are people that are coming from 2-3 hours away. They're taking up our time. They're taking up an enormous amount of time in the fire department. They're taking up an enormous amount of time in the dispatch center, and they're certainly taking up a lot of time at the hospital. That, in my opinion, we're funding for people that aren't ours. I'm not anti-recovery in any way, shape, or form, but the issues, I think, the majority are preventable, but it's not changing. So I want to make you aware of it. I want to make the public aware of it. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer those.
What group or department, or where do we go to try to hurt this, or round it, or slow it down?
Well, I thought initially the media would do that, and it did for 2 weeks, and then it slowly just went back. I think when I met with the commissioners in the spring, I said, we're on pace to be at 100 calls. for the year, and we're almost there. I'm gonna make noise, be it beyond these walls, to try to get it to stop. I have declined meetings with the director down there. I'm tired of meeting with them, and they're telling me they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that, and this and that doesn't happen. I don't have time to waste time meeting with the director down there for him to tell me that they're gonna change this, and they're gonna change that, only for it not to happen. So,
Is it the lack of security, lack of medical care, combination, or just?
I think it's a lack of an intake process. When you take anybody and everybody, regardless of issue, I mean, the vast majority of calls are EMS and fire calls. There's a whole lot of suicidal calls that warrant our response as well. That in turn, you know, I mean, involves an ambulance, that involves a trip to the hospital. I mean, it's just that trickle-down effect of, I mean, it's affecting so many public service agencies and just using so much money. I mean, I don't know how the contract works with the city for county fire, but I don't know if it was based on runs they thought they were going to have, but I mean, eventually, I mean, if I'm the mayor, I'm going to be coming to you saying, hey, I mean, here's 100 additional calls that we didn't expect to have. We're going to have to look at these rates. I don't know how that works, but it's just beyond that.
Is the center in the town of Ladoga? Or is it outside?
It is.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I know, I feel for our volunteer fire department.
Absolutely.
You've got to remember that they're a volunteer fire department. So is New Ross, and the people in Ladoga and the people in Clark Township and around see it, feel it, and I know they try to throw a little money toward the guys at the fire department, but the big thing is just the number of calls and how that's just bleeding on our part-time guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're getting to the point where, you know, they can't even go to dinner or go out to eat or be at home and go to sleep without getting a call down there. So there's a lot of stress and strain. And then, like you say, Crawfordsville, they're dispatching and going down there as well. So they're traveling from Crawfordsville down there, and it's a couple times a week at least. So. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, you've got it. You've got so much manpower involved, but it's not just manpower with full-time people. It's our part-time guys, the volunteers, that I'm afraid they're going to get burnt out.
Is there another group of people that need to put pressure on this facility? I mean, you know, you've done your due diligence trying to reach out to them.
I don't know. I would probably defer to Dan on that. I mean, our hands are kind of tied. My understanding is, I mean, really, the medical licensing is the issue. I don't know that I have much say in whether somebody keeps or loses a medical license. And I'm sure they would tell you that they're following protocol based on their policies and procedures. And I would argue you need to change your protocols. You need to change your intake procedures. You need to limit who you're accepting and who you're allowing to come in the door, because the moment they come in that door, they're theirs. And if they become a problem, they call us. And now instantaneously, they're no longer Ladoga Recovery's problem. They're Montgomery County's problem. And that's what's happening time and time and time again. They said they're not going to have violent people in there. They have violent people in there. It's not a secure facility. Something bad will happen. You can walk out at 2 p.m., you can walk out at 2 a.m. And they've had very violent people in that facility. We haven't had issues, but it's coming. And my aggravation is it's just taking up way too many resources, needlessly. So I don't know. Hopefully this, I mean, like I said, it changed it a couple times, you know, for a couple weeks the last time. I'm going to reach out to Indianapolis media as well. I mean, I've had some other calls where they're looking at you know, opening up another facility. Those places have reached out to me saying we don't want it. You know what I mean? So I want to make you aware. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys control the money, and we're throwing a whole lot of money at this problem. That's not ours, in my opinion.
Appreciate the information.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
Any other elected officials? Any funded organizations? Department heads? Everybody's quiet today. Start down there. Brett? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, please. Oh, that's right. Yep.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Justice. I'm the Coalition Director for Drug Free Montgomery County Youth Service Bureau. Mr. Klein invited me here today to share some good news with you guys regarding our opioid settlement funds. I'm here on behalf of the Drug Free Montgomery County leadership team to share and highlight the 2026 opioid settlement funds mini grant recipients. For 2026, we are proud to announce that we've expended every cent available in this fund. Across the categories of prevention education, harm reduction, intervention, treatment, and recovery, as well as justice services and first responders, awarding a grand total of $147,197.62. And again, that's every cent expended in that account. And I'm going to go ahead and read off the following 14 recipients with their agency title, project title, as well as the amount that we awarded them. So up first, we have United Way of Montgomery County, funding their first door project program at $21,432.12. The Crawfordsville Police Department for their 2026 DARE and SRO training at $5,900. The Boys and Girls Club of Montgomery County for their youth health and wellness programs for prevention at $1,200. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office for their 2026 school resource officer training and drug abuse prevention education program at $7,187.50. Our Prevention Department for the Juvenile Diversion Expansion Grant for $4,500. Our Through the Gate agency for their Program Support Associate Program at $15,000. Integrative Wellness for their Emergency Needs Funds at $1,500. Valley Oaks Health for their Expanding Peer Recovery for uninsured and underinsured Valley Oaks patients at $20,000. Our Local Recovery Coalition to fund their peer recovery coaches at $39,520. Youth United for Equality for their Alphabet Soup Coaching and Recovery Program at $5,488. Montgomery County Drug Court for breaking down the barriers for successful recovery through drug court at $7,500. Recovery Coalition Program again for their director's salary at $7,500. And then our FRC, our Family Recovery Court, for support of that program for $6,500. And finally, our Veterans Treatment Court, they call it their Mission Impossible program for opioid abuse prevention at $3,970. We just wanted to share this information with you as good news for these funds. As of yesterday at the commissioners meeting, we were able to conduct a check presentation and a photo op to congratulate these organizations. And with that, we always like to thank them for the good work they are doing in Montgomery County, and thank you all for your time and effort with this.
Thank you, and thanks for that information. That is good news, and I know a lot of those programs are doing a lot. Appreciate that.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to brag on her for just a quick moment. She didn't brag on herself. The state actually reached out and said, hey, Montgomery County, you guys are doing a fantastic job. Will you come speak about what you're doing with the opioid settlement? So, good job. Thank you.
Brett, what you
Ready for me? First of all, I want to thank Cargill for doing a good job up in the north part of the county. Farmers are really excited about what you're doing and trying to make it easier on them. Also, Lyndon's excited, and not only for you, but dare I say it, Dollar General's coming to Lyndon. So I don't know if they're more excited about Dollar General or you guys, but I just want you to know most of everything I heard was really positive, and everybody's excited about it. So thank you, and thanks to all the county employees, department heads for a really hard year. Looking forward to next year. Hopefully this Senate Bill 1 will work its way out, but we want you, I want you to know, and I know everybody here feels the same way, we appreciate everything you do and everything you've done to try to make it our job as easy as it can be, and have a Merry Christmas and a safe and Happy New Year. I'm looking forward to next year.
Just steal everybody's thunder, Brett.
Thank you.
I ditto Brett. Thank you, everybody, department heads, everything. Great year.
I will say this exact same thing to all the county employees and everyone out there. Thank you for a great year. Also, thanks to everyone here for making my first year on the council a good one. Learned a lot over the course, and thanks for the guidance from all the council members that helped along that.
Thanks, County, for all your hard work. We appreciate it. And thank you, council. Been one of the more active councils I've worked with. This is my 9th year, and I appreciate all your hard work. Appreciate all the department heads and their hard work. Wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Cargill. We like to work with you and others. That's exciting to me. I want to thank Joe. Hope he has a great retirement. And Ron Dickerson, he's just kind of works behind the scenes, has for years, and done a great job. We're going to miss him. Merry Christmas, all.
Yeah. It gets to me, and so it would be redundant for me to repeat everything, but I certainly want to echo what they've all said, and as a partner in agriculture, we welcome you to add more to our county. You've already been a presence, so getting the trucks off the road, that's huge, huge.
Yeah.
Hats off to the county highway. They've already had to work hard this year. Let's hope Mother Nature doesn't throw too much more at them. But Merry Christmas to everyone, and looking forward to next year and solving some of those problems that have been discussed today. No. I was sitting here thinking, thank God he didn't say anything.
I too appreciate everybody's hard work this year. It's been a busy, challenging year for us. Cargill, thank you for the investment in our community. We welcome you to the community expansion, and I just want, like we've all said up here, thank you to the county employees for hard work this year. The budget was kind of challenging this year. Hopefully next year we'll get a little more relief or guidance, I guess, from the state side. Again, thank you to Joe Ellis. I know he ducked out a little while ago. Probably didn't want the recognition, but he's done a lot for our community, for our veterans. I know Nick Kashan's coming on board. I've known him for years, and he'll be a good addition to the county for our veterans as well. And thank you to the Sheriff's Department and our first responders. Yesterday was a tough day. I know I've worked those calls before, so I know how that affects a person afterwards. So just all my best to them. Next meeting, January 13th. I don't have my glasses on. Same place, same time. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope the last part of your year is... And apparently Dan wants paid again. I'm sorry.
I do.
We do have one more claim to approve. 2877 for Taylor, Manette, Schneider, Clutter, and whoever else they want to add to their name.
So moved.
Have motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.